Yay.
Right, so my name is Laura Marta. I am ECD at Taylor Herring. It's a bit of a mouthful, but that's Executive Creative Director. I head up the creative team here at Taylor Herring. We are an earned first creative agency, and we do lots of fun things. So I'm going to take you through all of the different things you could get involved with if you went into this industry. So to kick off, I'm just going to tell you a bit about what PR is and how it differs from advertising, because often the two get conflated. Ultimately, it's all marketing anyway. So much of what I'm going to speak about today will be totally transferable into these other disciplines, but in a very top line manner. Advertising is paid for media, or otherwise known as above the line. This means whatever the idea you have is, and if you create that as an advertising agency, you will then partner up with a media buying agency, and they will purchase a number of slots on TV, on Netflix, on billboards, on TikTok, and your ad will play on them. Hopefully, your advert will encourage people to buy the product. But whatever happens, basically your advert will be seen because you've paid for it to be. PR, on the other hand, and arguably good advertising too, there isn't quite such an overt exchange of money. And the idea with PR is that you come up with a creative that will make journalists and creators talk about your brand in favorable terms. This could be with a piece of research, this could be with an event, this could be with a cool bit of content, with a new service, or even with a sort of unexpected product. But basically, you're creating a story that you then have something to talk about. Another way of looking at it is that advertising is the brand itself saying, I'm great, buy my stuff. Whereas PR is someone else saying, this brand is great, buy their stuff. Or, oh my God, did you see what insert name of brand did? That's wild. If I can get onto the next slide. But when it comes to getting your attention, it's basically a battleground. As I'm sure you're all aware, it's not just a few newspapers and a few TV channels like it used to be. It's Netflix, it's influencers, it's social media. Plus, no one really wants to hear from a brand, really, especially when all a brand wants to do is talk about themselves. With PR, it's all about crafting the story so that it's something that people actually want to hear about. And not only that, it's got to be so cool, so outrageous, so entertaining that once you've heard about it, you also want to pass it on. Because as we all know, having something to say doesn't mean people automatically care. And because we have to earn that attention rather than pay for it, we need to make sure that what we say is actually interesting enough that journalists will write about it and audiences will engage with it. In other words, we need to get the brand we work for into conversations that you want to have. And we do that by listening to our audiences. All too often, brands try and insert themselves into conversations that they literally have zero right to be a part of. And it's important to be able to sort of gauge if you'd be welcome or not. And one of our jobs is to match the brands that we work for with the relevant passion points of the audiences they're trying to reach, rather than force our way in and show ourselves up. So taking all of this into consideration, at Taylor Herring, we have 5 creative pillars, which we live by in order to create a really impactful work in the industry. So up first, you've already seen it. This is entertain or die. This is our sort of company mantra, and kind of what I've been alluding to throughout so far. If we aren't entertaining, we're not going to be engaging. And if we aren't engaging, we might as well go home. Our second rule is dial up the joy. There's so much bad news today that people are basically avoiding news channels. So we have the opportunity to inject a little bit of fun into people's lives. So it's our job, for want of a better word, it's our job to take that opportunity. The third is that culture is currency. As I said earlier, no one wants to talk about brand messaging when they're down the pub. We need to base our creative on relatable insights, talk to people in conversations they're already having about their lives, their passion points, and their interests. The fourth rule is that we think ideas first, channels second. So the lines have actually blurred between kind of traditional marketing and PR and advertising and social and digital and everything in between. So a good idea that people want to talk about could start anywhere. It could start with a t-shirt, it could start with an interesting billboard, or it could be an unexpected brand partnership. Marmite and Heinz are particularly good at this. And And a good idea should be able to fly across any channel. The future of the industry, cross-disciplinary, it's all in integration, it's all in collaboration. And then finally, fortune favors the brave. So with risk comes reward. So it's up to us to embrace ideas which make us a bit nervous. And that's also where our client team really get involved, because they're the ones that need to coax our clients who might be a little bit scared of doing something really fun into being a little bit more daring. So I'm going to take you through some of our work now, which I hope will show you the kind of range of stuff you can get up to in this line of work. So I've got a couple of Aldi projects to go through now. If there's one morning time controversy that surrounds McDonald's, it's their wild idea that breakfast should end at 11. Obviously a travesty to anyone nursing a hangover and can't get out of bed until midday. So we, in response to this, launched Aldi hash browns. They were better value, better taste, and available all day. We love a pun in PR. So essentially what we did here is we crashed into the breakfast scene with a bold stand against McDonald's foolish ending of breakfast at 11 by unleashing the Aldi hash brown van outside of a McDonald's. And we basically handed out free hash browns to everyone who missed their morning fix. And this got 27 broadcast hits. We got 370 pieces of media articles, and there was even an uplift in sales off the back of this, so a really tangible effect. Another thing that we did, this was when fashion brand Moschino launched a celery-shaped faux leather clutch bag called the Sedano bag, which cost nearly £4,000. Now, one of the things that we need to bear in mind with Aldi is that they're all about quality and they're all about value. So we responded by creating the real celery bag, because Aldi's celery comes in at 75p, so much better value. So we found a model, bought some court shoes, borrowed a trench coat of one of our account directors' mums, and headed to the Watford store for a fashion shoot in the middle aisle, replicating the Moschino photography frame for frame and making a social video to sit alongside it. It's got 1.7 million views on TikTok on the brand's own channel, which is unheard of, 150 media articles, and a 10% uplift in celery sales. The crowning glory. Up next, we staged a concert off the back of a brilliant pun, Capaldi, with an impromptu Lewis Capaldi gig on the roof of an Aldi. So what we did is we rebranded the local store to Capaldi. Lewis performed his brand new track, Something in the Heavens, alongside fan favorites, Someone Like You and Survive. This basically incorporated a live gig, a global TikTok live stream, social content, PR, out of home, and a store rebrand. This got over 5 million social hits. It got over 1,000 media hits, and Lad Bible live streamed it. So again, what I'm hoping that is coming across is that in this line of work, you can, the type of creative you can get involved with is so broad. The main thing is that you need to start those conversations or spark those conversations and get into culture. For example, we also worked with Jamie Lang. This was for Samsung. We created a spoken word dance track called Morning People, which we released with him, helping the nation to ditch the snooze button and pay attention to their Samsung health stats. We released this on Spotify, and we were all in the studio this day, and Jamie Lang is now a recording artist. We also launched the Strawberries and Cream sub for Wimbledon, created the social video, and slightly unfortunately, we had the misfortune of landing this story a day after M&S went out with their story, but we stole all of their coverage. So that was great. So again, you can make dance tracks, you can make new products. You can also create a national swim school, which we did for EasyJet Holidays in partnership with the Royal Lifesaving Society and Better Leisure Centres. Essentially, this idea was offering 6 free lessons to 1,000 adults, as well as shared tips for how to be safer and confident in the water, because we realised that one of the best things about going on holiday for those who can swim is, jumping in the pool. But 1 in 6 adults in the UK can't swim. So we realised that there was a tension there, and we could help solve a real life problem. This was all in partnership with Olympic champion Tom Dean, who was the absolute perfect fit for this because he's really passionate about teaching people how to swim. But it's not just stuff like that. Alongside all the sort of content and the news stories and the social videos and the celebrities and the weird products, we also have a production arm called St. Mark's Studios, which is focused on sort of in real life experiences. And they veer into the world of sort of creative billboards, fly posting, and more sort of ATL execution. So when I say ATL, I mean above the line. So that's more kind of advertising type stuff. But they work on the production side. So what's on screen at the moment is a drone show that they worked in tandem with Taylor Herring on for a Samsung project at the beginning of 2024. But they also do full-scale live events. And as I say, they do creative out of home as well, like this. So on a slightly smaller scale, this billboard for Stella Artois, we highlighted that even if the rain stops play, we keep pouring with this clever and hugely shareable piece of out of home. So again, lots of different ways that we can bring ideas to life. And we don't just do what I've gone through, we also work with influencers. And we've got a little bit of a show reel for you now.
I'ma kick back when you think like that. I'ma be the best that you never had.
It's me, the UK's most handsome bald owl. I knew. How do you just send me hundreds of Blackburn bags to make 2 couture dresses for Fashion Week?
Bang, bang, bang. I'ma get ya. I'ma kick back when you think like that. I'ma be the best that you never had.
Do you ever take that off? No.
I'm not sorry. Bang, bang, bang. I'ma get ya.
I like bang, bang, bang. Gonna get ya.
Let's have it.
I'ma be the best that you never had.
Don't want to play that again. So yes, again, tons of different stuff that we do. So what I'm going to take you through now is just a little bit of what do we actually do on the creative teams? And then I'm going to talk about all the other teams that make up the agency and just show you the wide range of stuff that you can be involved with. So what we've already seen is the huge scale of stuff that we can create as an agency, but like within creative, day to day, you are working on conceptual ideation. So that's going away. We're receiving briefs. We're going away, brainstorming, coming back with ideas, pitching those ideas. We're writing them up into decks. There's also a design function on the creative team. We do script writing for videos. We're obviously involved in the pitching and client comms. We develop photography briefs for shoots. We go to the shoots and we oversee them. We also work hand in hand with production, making sure that the editing of any video content that we create is on point. And also we edit social videos in-house. So that's just a snapshot of what we do. And we can be doing any one or multiple of these different things every single day. But then, so that's just the creative team. And everyone at the agency works really, really collaboratively together. But to give a little bit of an overview of the agency and also where you could then, if you wanted to go in-house, for example, so you've got business, you've got production, you've got the client team, you've got finance, and then you have in-house. So within business, you could be working in talent and HR, you could be working in recruitment, you could be working in doing contracting. Within finance, you could be doing accountancy, modeling, forecasting for the agency. Production, you could be doing actual producing, so on a shoot, but also just organizing, not just organizing events. It's incredibly difficult, but organizing events and being a project manager there. Video crew, so you've got your videographer, editor, Sparky, runner, all those things. You could be a photographer. There's props and art. There's hair and makeup. Again, contracting happens within production as well. Then within the client team, you've got managing the client, so making sure that those relationships stay really, really strong, creating budgets and schedules of works, project management, journalist liaison, so and then also selling in. So once we have these ideas, once we have all of the assets that we've created, We then need to package it up and sell it into journalists. And that's how they then have everything they need to then hopefully write about it if they think it's cool enough. And then moving into in-house. So this is who we would then refer to as our client. So if you're working, let's say for Aldi, you would be expected to manage the agency, so managing us. Also internal stakeholders. So within big companies, you basically have to educate the wider company about what communication actually is. So, or communications actually is and why it's important. So that's a really big part of that job in managing internal stakeholders. You have to look after budgets, and obviously you have to sign off the ideas as well. So just in terms of how all of these things come together, I'll just talk very, very quickly about one of our projects that we did for Aldi, and how it sort of touched every single team. So I'm going to chat quickly about how we did this for Alde. This is where we renamed the Manchester store to Alde and then created a petition to make it permanent, and Liam Gallagher himself actually posted about it. So in terms of where it started, very, very often, because we have some Northerners on the creative team, the North versus South debate rages on. And we realized when we got our brief from the client team, so this kicked off with our in-house client, basically saying we need to make Aldi famous over, I believe it was June and July this year. We obviously know that that's when Oasis was touring. However, everyone and their mother are going to be doing stuff around Oasis. There's going to be puns galore, and also Oasis are kind of known for being quite litigious. So we had to be really smart, and we had to do something that was very, very specifically Aldi, and no other supermarket could do it. So we had to own that moment. The North-South debate rages on in the creative team, as do some dubious accents. And that's how we got to the fact that actually Oasis aren't just a brilliant band. They are proudly Mancunian. We came up with the idea of renaming the Manchester Aldi Alde. We then wrote up that pitch deck, worked with the client team to then sell that into our in-house client. Our in-house client then signed that off. We then worked really closely with production and design to then create our new signage. We then had to work, there was like health and safety, you have to install it. But then the client team went away after we had got great photography and great video content off the back of all of these assets in situ. The client team went away, spoke to influencers. We got influencers down there to make sure that they shared content of it as well. They also then sold in all of our assets to the press. They invited some social news editors down to the event as well. And then we kicked off a petition to make it permanent, and it actually became permanent. So I'm just going to show you a little video summarizing everything.
So Aldi's got a new iOS update. It's now called Alde.
Excuse me, miss, where'd you do your shopping? Is it Alde? Alde?
Aldi. A supermarket in Manchester has rebranded its shopfront ahead of Oasis's homecoming gigs.
Aldi has given a twist to its store closest to Heaton Park, where Oasis will play their concerts. The Prestwich store has changed its name to Alde to reflect the Mancunian pronunciation of its name.
I think with 10 seconds to go, that's the end of the talk. I hope it was informative.